as we know, for the love of money, is the root of all evil, right? So, yeah, I was watching this documentary a while ago, even before I got in the real estate industry, as far as being a realtor. I kind of have been in the real estate sphere for a long time now, a long time, dealing with a bunch of property managers going to their job sites. In essence, I worked with a supplier that supplied a lot of building supplies, right? So it's mostly going to job sites, trying to see who has what. So if you go there and you see, for instance, a brand scarf, you want to try to get that appliance business from that investor. If you walk in their job site and you see locally here we got 48 lumber or something, you probably want to get that business. Hey, why are you getting your lumber from the? You see Pella windows. My supplier didn't supply Pella windows at the time. We did, like, I think Anderson or something. So why are you getting your windows from Pella? How can we beat that? So in essence, that's what I was doing. Or you see, like, in paint, you see, what are the paint companies around here locally? But you get the idea. Wow, I'm shocked these companies can't come to mind. I remember seeing their buckets all the time in some of these job sites. Sherwin-Williams, you see all these other paint companies. Now you want to get their paint business. So in essence, I was working with these technically developers, but they're not like massive developers. They mostly build single family homes, fix and flippers, right? But they do it at a pretty efficient level, 10 houses, 10 projects at a time. So I've done that for a little while, dealing with these contractors. And while I was in there, you like to just stay up to date in the industry. I was watching this documentary, but it was mostly focused in Canada. And you know how documentaries are, they talk about different things, but then they honed in on this one lady as the primary example of the documentary. And her thing was, she was trying to sell her home for sale by owner, and they kind of investigated, they had hidden cameras in her property and neighboring properties that were less or even better than hers, things like that. And they showed realtors that were staring. It just says, as it says, you're staring. You're kind of, there's a specific definition, when you take your real estate exam, but staring is literally, as it says, you're staring your client into a specific direction for whatever reason that may be. If you're staring your client for their best interests so they can possibly save money, get the home they desire, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're just doing your first duty as a realtor, right? You have their best interest in mind, right? I think it's fiduciary duty, but you have their best interest in mind. You're making sure they get what they're paying you for. You're helping them to as much as you possibly can, because when it comes to legal aspects, as a realtor, we're advised to stay away from that. You may give not only legal, but also in areas where you need to be trained. For instance, you can say, "Oh, I see a leak here." You can't go give plumbing details about the plumbing of the house. That's not your area. You advise your client, "Hey, I'm suspicious there might be some issues here. Let's hire a plumber to come look at this," right? Or roofing, I think the roof may need some work. Let's hire a specialist to come look at this, get a second opinion. You need to kind of have a feel for it. And that's, I think, it's kind of funny how things all play over time. That's a little bit of a plus that I kind of thank God I have now. And I wouldn't foresee it, I remember walking as a salesperson, going to these builders that are flipping $1 million properties in Washington, D.C., and I don't know anything about the building process, how a house is built, you know, and they pretty much buy the house, they gut it out. Like in Washington, D.C., you got to keep the front of most of the buildings because they're trying to keep the historic look. So you can buy the house. There are townhouses, a row of them. So there's a wall and there's somebody living on this side, somebody living on this side. But on the middle section, there's just that front wall. The entire back has been gutted. If you go back there, literally what's holding that front section up are like lumber, it's planks leaning down against the ground. So that guy purchases that house, tears everything down, and he's building the house from scratch, in essence, a brand new house, just with that old front. And then we had to go in there and try to sell him concrete, everything. Was there anything we couldn't supply? I really doubt it. Drywall, windows, doors, doorknobs, everything. We were just trying to, but some of these contractors would say, I don't want to give all my business to one company, you know. I want to be able to shop around for deals. Understandable. So imagine you going to people that are building 10, 20 houses. You're going to sell them product. They're going to ask you questions as though you're a professional, you know. And you go there, you can't answer these questions. So I shadowed one of my mentors, and she was a very nice lady. She's been doing it for a while. And she sent me this. She was the one that kind of sent me these documentaries to watch. She sent me a documentary about, she likes it. It's a very old documentary, talks about the building process, what goes down first. She actually sent me the videos on my phone so I can know step by step how a house is built. Because when you encounter these contractors, sometimes they expect you to know. If you came to my job site, does the plumbing go down before you lay the foundation? Or do you lay the foundation first? Or after you put the plumbing, you lay the foundation, what's next? Is it wiring? Is it drywall? Are you building the frame? The reason why they expect you to know that, sometimes they're expecting you to kind of be looking for those products, because as suppliers, we didn't supply everything. Obviously, we're like an intermediary. Some things we created, but most of it is like you're outsourcing to vendors. So they need you to be talking to these vendors already to kind of line them up so their job doesn't get stalled. Because these house flippers are like on time. They take a loan, sometimes hard money loans from those that are just starting out. And the longer they take completing these house projects, the more interest rate they pay, you know. So I actually ran into one of those guys. Was it 2 weeks ago? He was so happy to see me, gave me a big old hug. He said, man, the market has slowed down. We completed 3 houses and we did open houses and we didn't have any showings. You know, he said neighbors came through because they were